Welcome to Grateful Connections, What Gratitude Built, the podcast where women in business share the lessons, strategies, and gratitude behind their growth. Here's your host, Malinda, leading inspiring conversations that fuel your growth, spark gratitude, and remind you that you're not building your business alone.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm excited today to talk to my friend and a fellow local amazing businesswoman, Rachel Miller. She is the founder of the Pilates PT. And literally over the last number of years that I've known her, always been fascinated with her approach to business and her success. And just the way that she supports the community of women in our area is amazing. So I'm super excited to introduce you to Rachel. So Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and what it is that you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Miller. I'm a physical therapist, certified Pilates instructor, and founder of the Pilates PT here in Libertyville. We help active adults to better understand their bodies and feel their best. So we offer a wide array of services, orthopedic and pelvic floor physical therapy, wellness services, as well as private Pilates training, small group classes, and some specialty workshops. So lots
You
of
do a lot.
lot.
Are you following, I don't want to say trends, but are you following what people are you more reactive, do you think, on like, oh, people are asking you for things? Or are you kind of like, hey, I think this would be fun and trying it and finding success in some things and some not success in some others?
Yeah, I mean, I always say I'm guilty of doing too many things, like too many balls in the air.
Yeah.
But I really love all of them. And obviously, while my background is more rehab, I find that there's so much that could be done as prevention and education
Yes.
and just things that everybody should know. So, for like example, I do a lot of postpartum rehab, recovery, pelvic floor issues, diastasis recti, all the things. And I started to realize that while postpartum is really important, it would be really awesome for people to know a lot of these things during pregnancy because you can
Sure.
minimize a lot of these issues if you kind of know better during pregnancy. You can set yourself up for a better delivery and a better postpartum recovery because a lot of these things you can be doing day 2 postpartum. You don't need to wait for, 6
There'd
weeks.
be a problem. Yeah.
And it's way harder to learn all the things when you're not sleeping and taking care of a newborn baby. So
Nice.
that kind of inspired me to put together our proactive pregnancy program, which is an online program that basically teaches all the things that, as a pelvic floor PT, I wish I knew because I didn't get into women's health until after I had kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of more of that education piece that
I love that.
can help a lot of people.
That is, to me, that's one of the things I'm most impressed about with what you do is the education piece, because I think in general, we're all in this position of, the doctors tell us to do this and to do this. And it's always like, reactive or medication to treat and things like that. And the more I'm getting out to meet so many of you amazing women who are more in the natural health field and doing things naturally and educating and teaching women about our bodies, which we're not so great at. I think it's just so amazing. So tell me also about, have you always wanted to be a PT? Was that something that you'd been wanting to do as you grew up, or was it something you decided to do a little bit as you were just kind of exploring college? Tell me about that. And then again, like how did the Pilates play into that as well?
Yeah. So physical therapy, I grew up dancing. And
Okay.
a lot of my dance teachers and a lot of my, friends all went to physical therapy and it just like I would hear people talk about it and I didn't really know what it was.
Sure.
It sounded like this magical place.
They do magical things, right?
Um, and as a freshman in high school, we had to pick a profession to write a report on and do some like fake interview kind of things for
Okay.
some class I was in. And I picked physical therapy. And it was because I, kind of knew about it, but not really. But I like science. I knew I liked to work with people. I knew I liked to be active. So it kind of combined a lot of the things that I loved and just sounded good. And so ever since then, that was kind of my plan of I want to be a physical therapist. So
That's awesome.
yeah, kind of obviously stuck with it and ended up getting my doctorate, which as a freshman in high school didn't even exist at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the profession changed a lot even while I was in college.
Okay. So what does that path look like? Are all physical therapists doctors or no?
Now, except for if you're like my age slash older than me, you might not be because it wasn't available.
Oh, okay.
It's only the second doctorate class, like the second year of the program at Northwestern. And when I applied, I think there were only like 8 or 10 doctorate programs in the country.
Oh,
Everybody had
wow.
a master's still.
Okay.
Now everybody has doctorate programs only, as far as I know, but there are
Interesting.
still have a bachelor's or a master's that are practicing,
Okay.
kind of were grandfathered in. But yeah, the profession has changed a lot over the
So it
last,
is required now that you finish all the way through a PhD to
not a PhD,
practice?
it's a clinical doctorate. So it's a
Okay.
DPT, Doctor of
Okay.
Physical Therapy. So yeah, most programs are 3 years. So, college, graduate, and then a 3-year PT doctoral program.
Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. So have you been into Pilates this whole time? Because I'm really fascinated by your combination of the two, because having used your services before for physical therapy, I just love how, your practice isn't just solely PT exercises only. You do include some movements and things with your Pilates background. So how did that combine? I mean, to me, it just seems like such a fantastic way to teach people how to strengthen their bodies.
Yeah, I agree. Taking like mat Pilates at the gym while I was in PT school, just
Okay.
for exercise, and I loved it. But when you're in PT school, it's really busy and you don't have time to like do any more things. When I graduated and started working, I went through my mat Pilates certification and started teaching at a gym after work a few times a week, just for fun on the side. Uh,
Nice.
and I was always interested in diving deeper into Pilates, but it didn't make sense for me to do the time and money. And it's just a huge commitment for a full Pilates certification is like 500 hours.
Okay, wow.
And long story short, in 2010, I had my first child, moved up to the suburbs, and started looking for a new job. And I found a physical therapy job in a Pilates studio.
Wow.
Point, I then did my full comprehensive certification because I had the equipment every day at my fingertips to
Oh,
practice and use, and
I love that.
it made sense. So yeah, kind of putting the two together just makes sense.
It
I treated
does.
orthopedic. I mean, I've been a PT for over 20 years. So I treated orthopedic issues for a really long time. Once I started integrating Pilates, I think it made me a more holistic provider because it really is one body part affects the other, which,
Yeah.
makes sense. But I think that it also, between that and between having kids and realizing the lack of kind of postpartum care for women in general,
Yeah.
drove me to more of the women's health side of things. And did more continuing education in diastasis recti and in pelvic floor. And so that even more so combines with Pilates because a lot of what we do is breath and movement pattern training and posture and flexibility. And Pilates incorporates all of that. So the core is our foundation. And the core is not just your abdominals. It's
Yeah.
also your pelvic floor. It's also your diaphragm. It's also your upper back. It's also your glutes, like literally everything on your trunk
Yeah.
core. So it's a lot of the smaller muscles that I tell my patients they don't know they have. So
Right.
it's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, we don't pay attention to those things. I mean, one of the things that I remember from what you had taught me, and you said just about all around health or things that we don't even think about or know, right? Like even climbing the stairs. I remember you just saying, like, making sure that you're engaging your butt muscles up every single step, because otherwise you just take them up lazily, right? So I still remember, and I still try to incorporate that into my movement. So tell me, okay, so I don't know a lot about Pilates. What is the concept, and why have you chosen this to be your form of expertise versus like yoga or strength training or other forms of exercise? Like, what about it is inspiring for you?
I think a few things. I mean, I think it's the foundation itself, which is, core, posture, breath, alignment, all of those things. But it's also the fact that it's mindful movement. Like you have to think about what you're doing. So
Okay.
kind of going back to what you just said too, our bodies are smart and they're efficient. And so our body is going to choose to do something in the way that's easiest for us,
Okay.
right? So whatever the strongest muscle is the one that's like, I'll do that, right?
Yep.
How do we ever create change or balance in our body if we don't ever consciously change that pattern, right? So
Mhm.
going up the stairs, you're really not using your glutes as much as you could. How are your glutes ever going to get stronger or bridge that gap into function,
Okay.
right?
What does
So
that mean?
when you think about consciously, like, so let's talk glutes for a minute because that's
Yeah.
a very common issue with a lot of
Yes.
people. Area of weakness. It's a huge muscle that we underutilize, in my opinion, most people. But we have a lot of patients here that have gone for PT other places or worked with other providers or even had surgery, and they'll come in and we'll go through like, okay, what exercises are you doing? And, where do you feel it? And so a lot of times they'll have done bridging at some point in their life and I'll have them do that and I'll ask them where they feel it and it's not their glutes
Oh,
a
right.
lot of the time, right? Well, it should be a glute exercise if that's the point of why you're doing it. So,
Okay.
the challenge is doing it in a way that you're actually going to fire the right muscle and feel that and create that awareness and change that movement pattern. Because if you're doing a bridge in a way where you're just popping up and arching your back, but I'm seeing you for low back pain,
Right. You're
that's
putting a lot of pressure there. Yeah.
healthy. That's not gonna strengthen your glutes, and that's putting more compression on your low back. So, how is that exercise helping? You could be doing the right exercise, but not in the way that's the most beneficial for your body. So,
Interesting.
it's a lot of just, to me, it's the education piece of understanding, like, why am I doing this? Where is this muscle? Why do I care? And okay, great. Now that I found my glutes laying down doing a bridge, how do I now use them every time I get up from the chair or go up the stairs?
Right.
Should it feel like? What do I have to think about to make that happen?
That's
Because
amazing.
it's habits, right? And in
It
order to change a habit, we have to be consciously aware to do something different.
Right. And I think one of the fascinating things for me with working with you and talking with you all these years too is I would love for you to expand on the benefit of physical therapy overall, other than just coming into you saying, like you said, post surgery, um, post injury, post accident, things like that. Tell me a little bit about all the different things that physical therapy does. Because I know when I was working with you, even just the manual manipulations that you would do, similar to like a chiropractor, right? Without doing like official cracking or whatever. But you are very intentional with different body parts. And I think it's really interesting how it can be used in so many other ways besides just, again, coming to you because you were hurt or an accident.
Yeah, I mean, physical therapy can entail a whole lot of different things. And I think people need to understand too that not everybody's the same, right? So if you
Yeah.
go for PT at one place with one person and you go somewhere else with a different person, or even the same place with a different person, it might be different because
Right.
we all learn what we learn in PT school, should be somewhat similar.
Yeah.
But then we have all these different continuing ed courses and pathways and ways to, build and learn professionally. So
Sure.
we all treat a little bit differently. We all do different things. I always say you need to find the right person with the right intervention at the right time.
I love that. Yep.
Me 20 years ago is not the same PT as I am today, just different.
Yeah. And you would run into different patients too, right? With their different needs. And you can become, like you said, kind of that specialist in the women's health thing because you saw a need, you saw patients coming in that really needed your help. And you're like, how can I spin this to be more focused for you as an expertise, which I love. And I know that while we've been out talking to women, I know you spoke at one of my events, you are doing girl talk events, you're having events at your studio. Just knowing that you're so proactive about helping women learn things about their bodies is just amazing. So when you started telling the story too about how you were working in a physical therapy office inside of a Pilates studio, tell me a little bit about, I shouldn't even say a little, I'm very interested in this. Tell me about your commitment to starting your own business. How did that look? What were your thoughts? And then I want to dig into a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I mean, I was never the person that was like, I'm going to own my own business when I get older. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that.
Yeah.
So when I started, I was like, my goal was to see like 4 patients a week, like side hustle,
Oh,
just
wow.
little whatever side thing. But I'm a little type A rule follower. So I still had to go through the LLC and the liability insurance and the
Okay.
this and the that. And it really is the same process, whether you're going to work 4 hours a week or, 70 hours.
Right. Yeah.
So, whoops, we're there. And then it just kind of slowly built, like the demand was there. And so it just kept growing. And I think every step is hard in terms of, I was like, I'm never going to hire anybody because there's a whole lot more things and
Yep.
stuff that like is not my area of expertise that comes along with that. And I was like, I'm never going to do that. That's like, way
Right.
too
It's a
much.
lot to manage, right?
And then I did. And
Yeah.
okay, well, and then from there, it really grew organically. And I now am just never going to say I never because I don't know.
Right. Well, I mean, and it is fun to see, especially when it's organic and growing and you're not just hustling, 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 that you can just have such a strong expertise. You're such a giving and amazing woman. So it doesn't surprise me that people are drawn to coming to your studio and you are so detail oriented and caring. And it's definitely an a place that you feel invited and warm to go into. So I would
Mm.
assume that that's a big part of it. What would you say? I'm assuming after some of our conversations, one of your biggest challenges is managing the people, right? Like that was one of your challenges of keeping staff and managing all of that. Is there anything, any tips you can give or ideas about how that's like been a process for you in terms of hiring and keeping people employed and staffing? What are the biggest stressors and what are the biggest wins?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's finding the right people, right? Like, I'm not going to hire somebody just to like have a body here
Body there.
that
Yeah.
can do something, like I want to hire people that are of the same mindset, that are going to provide the same, high quality service. So for me, it's really about finding the right people. And then from there, I mean, really, the majority is just life happens. You
Yeah.
know, somebody this or somebody that. And like, we all have to live our lives.
Right.
It's just challenging because I can't control all the things.
Yep.
Uh,
As a type A, that's even harder.
and for me, like I stress about filling their schedules because this is their livelihood and I want them to be comfortable and um, happy being here too. So there's always that supply demand, which I
Right.
don't
It ebbs and flows, right? It's not,
know.
yeah, you could be totally sold out and think, oh my gosh, I need 5 more people. And then you get your 5 people and then tomorrow it could be a little slower, right?
Yeah.
What would you say? Is there any other big humps that you've jumped over? Any big challenges that you can recollect from the growth and ideas about how you attack those challenges?
I mean, I think the biggest things are, I mean, a few years ago, I moved into a bigger space and um, always say it's like the couple that buys the house before you have like the kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to grow into it.
Yes.
Um, and I'm still growing into it, but again, I feel blessed that I can kind of grow organically and I have the space to grow into still.
Yeah.
So there's still possibility and there's still room for growth. I'm not like stagnant because of that reason, but
Sure.
I'm still kind of finding the right people and the right path. I'm not forcing anything. Like I feel like sometimes I feel like I should be doing more, I should be growing faster, I should be doing, all of these things, but then I kind of look the other way and I'm like, half the reason I do this is because of the freedom and the flexibility and the fact that I can go watch my kid play his middle school
Right.
soccer game, you know, 3 days a week or whatever. So I feel like, now's the season of balancing all the things and I'm doing the
It's a
best I
hard one.
can. And
Yeah.
maybe that's the next chapter where like then it's, put your foot on the gas and let's like really go.
Sure. Well, I mean, that is hard. I mean, we all, when you think about what all women, especially women, it's not only women, but the majority of us really struggle with that balance of, especially when you're building a business, to want it to be successful and not go all in when you still have a family at home to take care of. So that's amazing that you're balancing that and have that mindset. Cause I think that is very, very helpful. I would love to explain, get into a little bit more the pelvic floor specialty that you have had. And I know that personally, from our event that we had where you were one of the speakers, I felt like I got so much feedback on that because people were so thrilled to hear about and have a discussion on something. It's not taboo, but it's just not talked about, right? Like we just don't even know what we don't know about our own bodies. And as women, there's so many parts of our bodies that we're just unaware of or understand. And pelvic floor is definitely one of them. I would love to learn a little bit more from you now about like what is it? What happens to our bodies and what does physical therapy do to make things better in our bodies?
Pelvic floor specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I got into pelvic floor after my second kid, I think, realizing just how much of a lack of postpartum care in other countries. Pelvic floor PT is standard after having a kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's not here.
Yeah.
At least here it's becoming more talked about and people seeking out more on their own, which is nice. But either way, we have a long way to go in terms
Right.
of, better serving women, especially because I think one of the issues is that it's normalized. Like, oh, I had 3 kids, of course I'm gonna leak everyone when I sneeze or jump. Or
Right.
some of the issues that kind of go underneath the radar that people don't think about in terms of even urinary frequency, constipation, endometriosis, literally any abdominal like surgery or pelvic floor surgery. Like, what other surgery do you have? If you have knee surgery, you're going to have PT after most of the time.
Right.
Have a pelvic floor surgery, and that's
Nothing.
not necessarily the standard of care every time.
And so can you also explain what is the pelvic floor? Because the one thing that I've learned, from with you is obviously where it's at, right, in our bodies, but it isn't just pregnancy related, right?
I was
So, Rachel, can you tell us more about where is the pelvic floor? What does it do? I know that it's a muscle, obviously, but it has a lot more to do with your body more than just pregnancy or lack of pregnancy. So, can you explain more about the pelvic floor itself?
Yeah, so everybody has a pelvic floor, women and men. Women, let's say, have more issues, but things that mess with our pelvic floor tend to be childbirth and also menopause are the top two kind of things that influence the pelvic floor. Although you can have pelvic floor issues way before then without any of those
Okay.
scenarios. So the pelvic floor, we have three layers. This is Penelope, my so this is the front of the pelvis. So when we're talking pelvic floor, the pelvic floor muscles are all the red. The white are the bones of the pelvis. This is the lumbar spine. And essentially, you can have a lot of, just kind of speak to the common diagnoses,
Yeah.
pelvic pain. So you can have pelvic pain literally anywhere in the pelvis. So it can be in the front, we turn it around, the SI joint in the back. Obviously, the lumbar spine is the next door neighbor, and so is the hip. So the hip joint is right here, the ball and socket. So they're all literally like next door neighbors. So anybody with anything in that ballpark, we want to know about that pelvic floor function too, because
Okay.
a lot of times the pelvic floor muscles, we have three layers. This is external, and then going all the way into this internal, the deepest layer is this kind of bowl of the pelvis. And some of our hip rotators are actually part of that deeper layer. So if you have hip tightness, there are a lot of people that are walking around with pelvic floor muscles that are really tight.
Okay.
And that means that they can't relax. So what that also means is doing a Kegel or a pelvic floor muscle contraction is not going to be beneficial
Okay.
because you have to work on actually letting those muscles relax first. As a pelvic floor PT, part of my job is figuring out the why. So why are the muscles tight, right?
Okay.
Because there's weakness in the hips and the abdominals, in the muscles kind of surrounding it. Is it more of a breathing issue? So our diaphragm and our pelvic floor are connected. So every time we breathe, ideally, the pelvic floor should be moving together.
Okay.
But if we're breathing, it kind of depends on our breathing patterns. So we kind of dive deep into this in both PT and also in Pilates. So the way that we breathe is going to also change what muscles you use and your core optimally firing
Yes.
when we're breathing. So we talk a lot about breathing and relaxing the pelvic floor, but issues like constipation, urinary frequency, so like going to the bathroom all the time. Some people we will see that have UTI symptoms that keep testing negative for UTIs.
Interesting.
So that's something we treat with pelvic floor PT, endometriosis, and then kind of the more common ones that you think about incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse, diastasis recti. Those are all kind of common conditions that we treat here. There are other ones,
That's
even
awesome.
pain, pelvic pain too, is pain with intercourse, pain with tampon use, pain with gynecological exams. And the challenge with the pelvic floor is obviously they're muscles, but they're muscles that you can't see.
Right.
So,
And you don't even know what is affecting it. Yeah.
like, if your hamstring's tight. You don't really know if your pelvic floor is tight, right?
Right. So it provides the symptoms that will take somebody to see a pelvic floor specialist like you, who can then do the diagnosis, give you the right exercises, not just assuming that Kegels are the only thing
Yes.
to enhance and to strengthen that area. I think that's really fascinating and important because so many people just assume it's, oh, I have the incontinence. Well, it's just because I gave birth, right? Or like you said earlier, it doesn't have to be that way. And we don't even necessarily know how much can be done or what can be done. So I think I love what you're doing and spreading the word and giving so many people just the eye opening experience to explore it, talk about it, learn about it even more. So just like, okay, so at your studio, tell me a little bit about the Pilates side now too, with the classes. And I know you have some other instructors. So there are definitely in your studio either or a combination of both, right? So people can come to the studio to just do PT or I mean, sorry, just to do Pilates?
Yeah. So the nice thing is we have a continuum. And so we start wherever we feel like is the most appropriate. So sometimes we do free discovery sessions so we can kind of help to guide you where we think the best starting point is because we offer a ton of things.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's not always a right answer. It's kind of a group conversation, but you can start at PT and then we use the Pilates equipment and the concepts for rehab. And so if it's something people like, then they may continue with Pilates as we're starting to decrease the frequency of PT or, even graduate. Or we have some people that just come for Pilates as well. So
Yeah.
private Pilates sessions, our small group classes on the equipment are a maximum of 4 people for most of our classes.
Nice.
More like a semi-private because yes, Pilates is fitness, but more so here, I want it to be quality. So personalized attention, getting feedback on form. Some of our Pilates classes even include videos that are more educational in nature of, where these
Nice.
muscles are. So it's, again, that brain body connection. And then we have people that start with Pilates and all of a sudden, as we're talking and issues come up, then we can always refer them to
Amazing.
PT or we also offer wellness programs. So, like wellness exams with a PT. So, just more ways to get information and feedback about your body that's going to benefit you because if a one on one assessment with a PT is going to basically identify what areas are weak, what's tight, what movement patterns do we need to work on, and that way if then you're going to go do a private Pilates session the next week, for example, with your permission, we
Yeah.
can share that information and basically tell that Pilates instructor, okay, they need to work on this, this, this,
Nice.
this, this. And then you have a private session that is like very quickly tailored to exactly what your
I
body.
love that. That is, yeah, that's what I love. Like I've loved seeing your commitment to the community, how much education you provide. And I just love seeing your business succeed and grow. And on that note, I have some of my final questions that I like to ask all the guests. So when you think about your business or women in business, since we know a lot of people together, if you could wave a magic wand to a woman to find success in her business, what would that be?
I mean, for me, I feel like I'm so grateful that I love what I do.
Yeah.
So if your business is something that you love, like it doesn't feel like work. It's like a passion project, right? And you just
Sure.
happen to have a business. So, I think in an ideal world, right, as my kids grow up, I'm like, what are you guys going to do? Like, what do you
Yeah.
love? You got to find your path. And I feel like not everybody is.
Nope. Takes a long time to get there. I'm 53 and just finally figuring it out. So, yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. I love that. And then when you think about where you are today versus where you started in your business, and especially since it was sort of unintentional and you grew into this amazing success now, what could you tell your previous self, like your younger business owner self? What would you say like, look, I discovered this now and I wish I would have known this when I started? What would that tip be?
I mean, I think two things. Number one, never say never. Um, And number 2, hire the experts, like the things that you don't know, hire somebody to help you with all of that. I'm a very DIY person. Like I want to know how to like I made my own website from scratch on 2 different platforms. Like I just want to know how to do all the things, but
Sure.
obviously there's other people that have figured it out.
They can do it quicker, easier, faster. Yeah.
So there's certain things that, yeah, outsourcing or at least having some outside like consulting, I think is really helpful when it comes to whether it's that financial part or the
Right.
marketing part. But, it's hard to be an expert at everything, especially when I was
We're a solopreneur, right? And you're trying to do so many things. You can't be an expert. I think that is, and I know personally too. I mean, it's just a challenge to balance funding, right? When you're figuring out how to pay for your business and to get it up and rolling. So it's very difficult to make that decision of where do you hire someone. But just knowing that you can get something done quicker is probably worth the investment so that you can get to the next step a little quicker.
when your time is valuable, right? And I
Right.
think when I started, I had 2 little kids, but I also somehow had some more time. I don't
Yeah. Well, they weren't running around in sports and all the things that you're probably doing right now, so there's that.
it's just different stages, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like as I've grown, the needs change. And even like doing an ad or marketing or social media, like that's different now than it was
Oh,
10 years,
right.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not up on the trends. Like I can
Yeah.
delete TikTok, but
Yeah.
I trend every once in a while. But like, am I doing a good job? Probably not.
Same. Totally. Yeah, that is the ever-changing one for sure. And when you think about just to kind of wrap this up too, when you think about I obviously love the feeling the gratefulness and gratitude for our success or where we're at in our lives, and just being happy with our choices and things like that. So when you think about gratitude in your business, what are the maybe couple things that you're most grateful for?
I'm grateful for, I think, number one, the freedom. Like,
That's
I
amazing.
can make my own schedule. I mean, owning your own business means you literally work all the time.
Of
I'm
course.
working at 6 a.m., I'm working at 10 p.m. Like, there is
Yep.
no like boundaries.
Yes.
Or I could be better with boundaries, I could say.
Yeah.
But I also have the freedom of being able to go to the soccer game and drive my kids around and all of that kind of thing. But it's also the freedom of creativity. So I
Yes.
can develop this workshop or do this program or do this online course or teach this continuing ed course. I mean, I'm all over the board with all the things that I do, but I love all of them.
Right. And you get to pick. No one's telling you what you can and can't do. Yeah. That's a big reason I want to leave corporate for sure. Like, I want to be able to follow my passions and try new things. And if they don't work, you just pivot, right? Like, you make a decision and it didn't work or it didn't sell out like you were hoping, then okay, maybe it wasn't the right time and you try again, or maybe it just isn't what people want. But you get the freedom to give those things a try and figure out what people do want and need. I love that. I mean, that's what is, driving me right now too, just being, yeah, having that excitement of trying new things. So I
Yeah.
love that, Rachel.
I'm finding the people that, even like freedom with my staff, right? Like we
Right.
can make the rules together. I am open to suggestions. I don't
Sure.
know all the things. Like I want this family team environment, and then also freedom with our patients because
Right.
we're out of network with insurance, so we don't have to listen to what they want us to do because we have wellness options, because we have Pilates options. If somebody's coming here for PT, we have the freedom to do whatever we want and whatever serves them best versus,
Right.
what the insurance companies limit you to do, which is just getting worse and worse
Right.
as time goes
Well,
on.
and it gives you, you're not part of one of the big chain corporate PT, right? Where they probably have very specific protocols that you need to be followed for this or that, and what they can and can't do in their facilities. So yeah, I mean, all that freedom, is part of the reason that you're successful is because you have all these pivots and opportunities to help people with their wellness. And, that's becoming more and more important, especially I think for women our age who are finding that they've neglected their bodies or their self-care and their mental health and all those things for so many years. I
Yeah.
love that. Rachel, tell us, I do know, even if this podcast ends up finding its way out of the Lake County world, I do know that you offer virtual Pilates PT classes as well. So tell everybody like what you offer and how we can find you.
So website is probably the easiest place, the PilatesPTstudio.com. Facebook is the Pilates PT and Instagram is the Pilates PTS. Those are probably the best ways to find us.
Nice.
And yeah, we do have some virtual offerings. I still teach a mat Pilates class on Zoom once a week. We also have some online. So we have these core connections videos that are more of these educational exercise videos that I talk about that are included in some of our in-person programs here. But you can also get them online and do them
Nice.
wherever. So we have some online programs. We have some continuing ed for fitness professionals and rehab professionals
Nice.
that are all offered virtually in some capacity. So, and
It's
some of
awesome.
our workshops we'll do virtually or in person too. So, if there's a
Wonderful.
need or a desire, feel free to reach out because
Yeah.
I'm always open to.
Yeah. To doing more education and yeah, and you do such a great job at it. So thank you so much, Rachel. I appreciate your
Having me.
time and I'm excited to share your expertise with any of our listeners. So thank you.
Thank you for supporting us. You are an amazing cheerleader and an amazing
Aw,
friend. And
thank you. That means a lot.
here.
Thank you. All right. Bye bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. You can find me at gratefulconnections.com, join our private Facebook group, Grateful Connections, and follow me on Instagram at gratefulconnections_co. Sharing is an act of gratitude, so please pass this along to another woman in business who inspires you.
We're so grateful you joined us on What Gratitude Built. We grow stronger when we grow together. So stay connected, stay inspired, and let gratitude lead the way in your business and your life.